You're doing well. Happy Friday. It's the weekend. Yay. So happy to be here. Sorry I have not been here since Monday. Just crazy week. I'll get into more of that in a moment. While we are waiting on folks to join the live broadcast, coopedup.com is my website. You can check that out at any time. I'm Cooped Up is my handle in all social places. Would love to follow, particularly if you're on the Instagrams. I'm on Thread also. I'm not actually sure if that's my login on Thread. I need to check that out. And wherever you watch or listen to this, it is available on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, as well as rebroadcast in audio format on the major podcasting platforms. Click the bell, subscribe button, whatever it is, so that you not miss a minute of the fun. Hey, Mama, how you doing today? So anyway, as you may have seen in the caption to this episode, which is titled The Wonderful World of Sports, with a big question mark at the end, sports have dominated the energy, the enthusiasm, the efforts of the Koch household this week, and I actually think that it is a at least semi-permanent change, if not permanent change. So I'll start with Claire. I'm going chronologically. This is in no order of importance, just strictly chronological about when it happened, all that sort of thing. Claire has leveled up from she's leveled up to a level 2 in roller derby. So every Monday, Claire has roller derby practice, and then it's a 2-hour practice. And she practices independently in our gym all the time. And she has gone from a 0 starter, like never done roller derby in a minute in her life, over 2 months, maybe 3. She started in May, but we missed 3 weeks because of vacation and all of that. She has gone from a 0 to a level 2. And level 2 is when you can officially start going to matches, tournaments, and bouts. They call a game in roller derby a bout. Things that I know now. And so it's very exciting. It also means that there will be some traveling involved because these matches, tournaments, I think a bout is the actual game, and it is part of a tournament. I think that is the terminology. I'm still learning all about it. But the next one that she's eligible for is in San Antonio, Texas in September. So she doesn't get to play in every single one. They build the rosters based on there's like an algorithm. If there's a bunch of level 3s on one team and not a lot of level 2s, then they won't play many level 2s on the other team, that sort of thing. It also has to do with attendance at practices. If you're up to date on your dues, money makes the world go around. How, like, your enthusiasm, your attitude, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah. So we're hoping. I've actually put in a special request for the San Antonio match. I think it's on September 9th, I believe is when it is. Middle of the day on a Saturday, because I have so much family in and around the San Antonio area that we would all like to come and see her in her first bout and doing all that stuff. She's super proud of herself. So to upgrade, so to go from a 0 to a 1, you just have to do a basic skills assessment that you are able to control yourself on skates, you're able to make a round in a certain amount of time, that sort of thing. But between 1 and 2, there's actually a big jump. She had to be able to reverse while in motion. I can't do that. And I skated all my childhood. She has to be able to skate and then start skating backwards, like with just one little twist. She has to be able to jump up and stop by landing on her toes, like Michael Jackson style. She can do that. She has to be able, there's a couple of other things, and all you have to be able to fall and get up without using your arms, because safety is super important. They train you how to fall so that you fall kind of in on yourself so you don't have any extremities out, nothing to get run over, nothing to accidentally trip a teammate, that sort of thing. So she had to practice falling, and then you have to be able to get up without putting your hand. They're trying to not let you put your hands on the rink as much as possible so that you don't get your fingers run over. And so she had to be able to do that. There's a couple of other things. You have to be able to run in roller skates. So not skating, but actually running, so that you are controlling your forward momentum, where it's not the rolling, it's the stepping. I don't know how they do it, but they practice it in the 2 hours on Monday nights, all of these types of things. And then there's a written test also. She had to take a test to know the different rules, all that kind of thing, because there are different rules for like a level 2 and a level 3. And she actually already told her she has the physical skills for a level 3 or close to it at least. And that she just needs to, and they do it once a month where you can get an assessment. They do a group assessment and then they move people up as needed. On the level, so the difference between them is, so in a level 2 match, so they don't ever put level 2s and level 3s together. If it is a mixed group, they'll have one round where it is level 3s, one round that's level 2s. They call it a mashup. And so level 2s are not allowed to actually like forcefully hit each other. So many of them actually hide their forearms when they're doing it. You can lean into each other. You can do pressure. You can hold on to each other to create like a barrier, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of rules to roller derby. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of rules to it. And it took me forever to figure out the scoring. I now know that if you are the jammer, you can run. It's how many people you passed each time. That is the rule, or that's how you score. But anyway, and then for level 3, you can push somebody, but you can't push them with momentum. So you have to like go up to them, full stop, and then lean, like forcefully go into them, right? And it's at level like 4 and 5 when you get into the like clotheslining and all that stuff. By the way, I don't know if I've said this before about roller derby. I'm pretty sure I have. It is the kindest, sweetest, gentlest, adorable people you'll ever meet. Like, this is a room of love. It is a room of acceptance. It is a room of kindness, of helping each other. There's no pettiness, anything. But then they get, I'm guessing it's just like a release for these people. Claire's probably the meanest one there, actually. And just, it's just great. Just how the switch comes off and on and all that stuff. And the referees and stuff, they're kind of aggressive too. Again, because it's about safety and they're super big rules followers, and kids get yelled at all the time, which that's a bonus also. So that was Claire's news on the roller derby front. So we're super proud of her. Way to go, Claire, my mom says. Thank you, Sandy, also. How fun. And Mike is saying, sounds like a road trip. Monica and I have already been looking at Airbnbs in San Antonio. Todd thought, he was like, I thought we were doing an RV trip also. So maybe we have to talk about that. I don't know. It's in an actually like decent part of San Antonio too. Usually these, because think about where roller skating rinks are located still, because these are all done at either like a roller skating rink or a like a event venue where they have to put down special padding and all that kind of stuff. They're not always in the best parts of town. This one in San Antonio, though, is just south of downtown, but north of I-10 in like this really hip, cool area. So I don't know. I mean, it's near the Lone Star Brewery, which is a big gentrifying area. So Sandy loves learning about roller derby. It's really, really fascinating. Like the rules, and then like Claire, in the last practice scrimmage that she got to participate in, she was what's called the pivot, which is if at any point the jammer is the person who scores the point, has a star on their helmet. At any point, if the jammer needs to tap out of the game, can just tear that thing off and hand it to the pivot. The pivot puts it on, and then the pivot is the jammer. So it's and then the pivot is also kind of the leader of the blockers. There's a whole, the vocabulary, the terminology is crazy. So there's that. So my Monday evenings are now consumed by roller derby practice. And I think soon it's going to be, fortunately, they only have games at most once a month. And not every month, and not everyone is a level 2 game. So that there is some saving grace to that. Mason, on the other hand, started cross-country practice this week at his new high school. We had an athletics meeting on Tuesday, was it on Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it was on Wednesday, actually. That's why I couldn't be here on Wednesday. And learned about the practices, all that kind of stuff. He started yesterday morning, and he did one this morning also. I have to take him out to White Rock Lake, which is about and by the way, I take him out to White Rock Lake. The summer practices are at 7 a.m. The which, by the way, it's already like 85 degrees in Dallas at 7 a.m. But once the school year starts, it's at 6 a.m. So we'll have to leave the house at 5:30, 5:20, or 5:40, something like that. It's about a 20-minute drive out to White Rock Lake. So what I've done the last 2 days is I've been taking him, and it's an hour-long practice. So I have been walking myself. It's a gorgeous White Rock Lake. Sun is rising. Temperature is decent. All of that kind of stuff. So it's good for me on that point too. We'll see how that works out. When it's a 6 a.m. start, Daddy better need to figure out how to get Papa to do some of those drives. It's funny, my watch this morning alerted me that I'm crushing this month and that I have already surpassed my fitness activity for July and June. And it is the 4th of August. So that shows you how lazy I was in July and June. But Mason is liking it. He's very, very sore. He was super nervous yesterday because he's never done a sport like this before, and he wanted to put himself out there for this. He likes to run. He's a good runner. He has a lot of stamina. He's actually a really fast runner, which for cross country that's not a huge benefit. But he'll do track in the spring. But so all these kids are also all very nice. His team, I think, is like 6 or 7 kids. And there are matches, or I don't know what you call it, a tournament, a match. I don't know a runoff. I have no idea what you call it. I will have to learn about that. They're mostly here in the area, and they're most weekends actually, starting once school starts. I think the first one is like September. I think the first one is like August like 28th or whatever that Saturday is. So we'll see. So they ran this morning and then or yesterday, and then came back today and ran again. And they do different drills and that sort of thing. So they're like working on stamina. They're working on the first day, by the way, I failed to mention this. The first thing he told me is he got lost. So they were running, and they were in an area near White Rock Lake that is wooded. And they were running through it, and they try to stay together as a pack, but it doesn't. If you need to rest, you can like start to walk or whatever, and then you just catch up to the rest of them later. Well, he did that, and my baby boy got lost in the woods and didn't know where anything was. He ended up like running in circles, but then he heard. So this is where survival. I'm very happy that this happened, actually, because we were questioning whether Mason had any survival instincts at all. And he ended up listening for voices, and he heard voices, and he started running on the trail, didn't cut through the woods, on the trail towards the voices he heard. And then just realized, all these people are running the same direction. Let's just follow them, and then found his way out. So, but yeah, so good learning experience for him there. But so, yes, so more practices, more games, all that kind of stuff. This morning when I was walking, I did about 2.5 miles this morning. It took me about 45 minutes to do it because I'm out of practice. It's been so fucking hot, and I haven't had a reason to be up that early. And so by the time I was waking up, it was too hot to walk, all that kind of stuff. And on the lake, it's great because there's a breeze too. But so I'm walking on the lake, and White Rock Lake is very, very popular. It's not crowded, but it is very, very well used. So I am walking, and I'm on my way back towards the car, but still on the walking trail. And this guy has this like pained look on his face, and he's running. And as he runs by, and by the way, there's a woman in front of me and someone behind me walking also. As he's running by, with every step, he's letting out a fart. And I'm like, okay. And he just looked so pained. I felt bad for him because I'm sure he was embarrassed. He probably was actually physically in pain. If you're farting and you can't control it, you're probably in pain. But I'm there, and I'm this close to just falling out on the ground laughing, because there's no such thing as an unfunny fart. Every fart is funny. And yes, I am that juvenile. But I'm looking around, and I by the way, I intentionally wear sunglasses when I walk so I can look at people and they don't see my eyes, or I can if I don't want to make eye contact, or if I do, whatever, it's my Anna Wintour thing. It's just so I don't make eye contact with people unnecessarily, and they don't see what I'm looking at, because I tend to stare. I'm really bad about staring at people. And there's that. That's a terrible habit of mine, but at least I'm covering it up. But anyway, so this guy he's passes us still running, and he's farting with everything. It was almost like his shoes were squeaky, but it was definitely coming from his booty. Running by us, and I am holding it in, trying to keep composure. I'm smirking for sure at this point, maybe even like full on smiling, possibly even starting to giggle. And I'm looking around, and no one else, it's as if it did not faze anybody else. It's as if I'm the only immature person at White Rock Lake. I guarantee that is not the case. By the way, this guy was in his like late 20s, maybe, like definitely like not an old person. This was not like something like he was young enough to still be very healthy and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking around and I'm like, what? And in my brain, I'm like, what is wrong with you people? This is like the funniest thing that's happened today. It is 7:45 in the morning. And I almost busted out laughing, and I got it under control. I didn't embarrass myself then at that point, because if I was the only guy laughing, they're like, oh my God, there's this like super immature guy at the lake. But anyway, what would y'all have done? Yes. Alrighty. Tell me what you would have done. Y'all participate a little bit more here. Go Mason. Thank you, Sandy. And thank you, Mama. I'll tell him you sent the good wishes. And then the other topic I wanted to talk about today is this Lizzo thing. I don't know how much y'all kept up with it, but you know, Lizzo, the superstar singer, the large Black woman who has built her career on embracing her largeness and her Blackness and her sexiness. That Black can be fat can be sexy, all that kind of stuff, right? Just very positive. It was we got a suite for her concert when it came through here. One of my favorite concerts ever. Super fun, super uplifting. I took everyone who works for me, all that kind of stuff. But there have been these two dancers, or maybe it's three dancers, actually. I think it's three dancers that have stepped forward, and they filed like discrimination and sexual harassment and all these terrible charges against her. And I just do not understand them. I've been trying to read up on it. I've been talking to Carrie about it. She's as confused as I am about it. I wish Carrie were here to talk about this. But it is so hard, and it is so I am of the opinion where I always trust the victim until there's a reason not to trust the victim. Because I think too often in like sexual harassment claims and workplace claims and all that kind of stuff, we poo-poo the victim when there legitimately was bad stuff happening. And there was stuff happening here too, based on what I've read. But the part that like short circuits me is well, I'll get into that. So these three women who were the backup dancers to Lizzo, they all won a place to be. She did a reality show. I think it was for Amazon maybe. And it was called something like Hooray for the Big Girls or Yay for the Big Girls, something like that. And she was auditioning for her backup dancers for her tour, which is the same backup dancers we saw when she came through on the tour here in Dallas. And they're doing a worldwide tour, or were. I think the tour is over now. But excuse me. I had a soda a little while ago, and it's coming back. Oh, you know what that is? That is karma coming back. I'm burping on camera because I was laughing about a guy farting while running. At least it was better the attic than the basement, right? But so back to Lizzo. So these women are claiming there was a hostile work environment, that it was that a lot of sexual stuff going on, bullying from Lizzo, like all these types of things. And it's got me wondering, like, I think that part of it is, I mean, I bet there's a lot of, you don't get to the level Lizzo is at without being a perfectionist, without being aggressive. Even with as nice and sweet as you can be, you have to have a certain level of drive and tenacity that probably 99% of the population does not have, right? That's what makes these people special. and the stick-to-itness. I mean, she had 3 albums or 2 albums. I think her third is the one that made her famous, and the others were like total unknowns, or relative unknowns. Anyway, so I think that because these women were cast through a reality show, part of me wonders if they don't understand the power dynamic of what a professional dancer who would have come up through the ranks goes through. And I'm not saying that the professionals are right in saying, you know what, we were treated like trash. This is just the way the industry is. You got to be treated like trash, that kind of thing, right? I'm not saying that's right either, but I'm just saying that maybe they are like, I'm trying not to say things like oversensitive, because again, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, because I don't like blaming the victim for or doubting the victim, that sort of thing. But here I am processing it and talking about it. But so I just think that maybe they don't have the history, the occupational history, to know where the lines are, when to cross it, when not to cross it, that sort of thing. Okay, so baseline is that. Secondly, they're saying that Lizzo was kind of raunchy and touchy and talked too much about sex and all that kind of stuff. And this is where I'm like, well, no shit. Have you actually listened to Lizzo's lyrics at all? She's super raunchy. She's super sexual. It's all about sex. It's all about innuendo, all of these things. So that is where it goes off the rails for me, that part of it, right? And so I do discount that part of it, because I'm like, you can't go work for someone like Lizzo, and who sings about sex, talks about being sexy, wears lingerie all over the place, big girl lingerie, that sort of thing, and then clutch your pearls over that sort of thing, right? So there's that. And then there's a story that is going around, and this is like the doozy story. So supposedly they were on tour in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. And while in Amsterdam, they went to the red light district, which is very famous for prostitutions. There's sex shows. You can go watch people literally having sex. I've been to Amsterdam. We just walked through the red light district, did not stop and partake in anything. There's a lot of straight shit, and I'm not really into that. But that they went to one of this one sex show in Amsterdam as a group, and this one particular sex show, one of the things that they do, hopefully I don't get too bleeped or censored for this, for talking about it on Facebook, but one of the things that they do is the woman puts a banana in her vagina, and then audience members eat the banana from the woman's vagina, right? Like that, ew, right? Ugh. But anyway, that is the show. It's well known. It's a very popular show. It's a very famous show. And Lizzo and the backup dancers and all these people went to the show to watch the show. And Lizzo was like, go do it, blah, 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 like encouraging. Well, these women claim that they were intimidated because, first of all, they were taken into this situation that made them uncomfortable, which I get that part. If that is not your thing. And they felt like if they didn't go along with the fun, they felt the peer pressure. They didn't go along with the fun, that they were going to get fired, that they were going to lose their job, that they were going to be not favored anymore, all that kind of stuff. And this, I think that kind of goes back to the first point too, like knowing what is a fireable offense and what isn't in this industry. And I do think that there's a lot of my friend Rhonda, who is a performer. I went to college with her. She lives in San Francisco. She's really like big in like Prince's world, like that kind of thing, right? She made a post yesterday about the importance of like that off the stage camaraderie and the late night things, the going out part of stuff, not the performing part, but like just the building of the relationships, and how she does see like, ugh, that's kind of a questionable thing. And why didn't anyone in Lizzo's world be like, you know what, Lizzo, maybe this is not the outing that we go on with the girls as like a group outing. Maybe like someone should have stepped in and said, pump the brakes, you're too famous for this. Like, this is not appropriate, all that stuff. I agree completely with Rhonda on that. And And I do think that it was crossing a line, going like the sex show with your dancers. I would never do something like that. But I mean, I took my staff to a Lizzo concert, though. I mean, it wasn't mandatory, and they were all super excited. Everyone wanted to go, and it was super fun. And again, very sex positive, very like no one was actually having it. It wasn't having sex, and certainly wasn't eating a banana out of some woman's stretched out vagina. But yeah, picture that, right? Gives banana splits a whole new meaning. But I'm like, again, back to that reality show thing. Like maybe the women didn't know that it is okay to not eat a banana from a woman's vagina and you won't lose your job. Like maybe that is just part of the big personality of Lizzo. I don't know the answer to these things, and I'm speculating. But other people have stepped forward. Like a former creative director has stepped forward, and then I think another dancer has also stepped forward. I haven't read about it today. I was reading about it yesterday and the day prior. I think this all came to ahead on Monday or Tuesday. But and they've come forward and they're like, we believe these girls, or these women. I try not to call women girls. We believe these women. We have experienced it firsthand that there is a lot of like overt sexuality, sexual harassment, sexual, like in any other workplace that is in Lizzo's orbit. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a weird thing that we have to, decide on what we think about the artist on stage versus the artist off stage. Like Michael Jackson, for example. I adore Michael Jackson's music. I adore Michael Jackson's artistry and all that kind of stuff. And it took a lot of like looking inside me even to decide, like for a while I stopped listening to Michael Jackson because of all the terrible things that had come to light that he had done. That he wasn't he convicted guilty? I think he was. But also, so I had to like really struggle with that. And then I finally decided that I like the music. And especially once he died, I was like, he's not personally benefiting from it anymore anyway. His children, Paris and Prince and Blanket, are all benefiting from it. And I'm okay with that. And so I started listening to him again. But then, what? Oh, there's conversation going outside my door. Anyway, so it'll be interesting to see. I'll keep watching it, keep talking about it, about how like this affects her career, because her career is built again on positivity and no shaming, don't pushing, like people being comfortable with where they are, meeting people where they are, that sort of thing. And so it just seems like a little much. Y'all aren't very interactive on the Lizzo topic, so maybe I won't revisit this. Maybe y'all don't care. Anyway. Well, that's all I have got for the day. You would think I would have more. I actually did have one more topic, but I'm going to wait until next week because I think it is worth talking about more, and I'm almost out of time. So, alrighty, well, that's all I've got for the day. I don't see any comments that I missed, so I am going to say goodbye. I love you. It's important that you were loved. I love that you watched this. Thank you so much. I miss you when I'm away. Take care of yourself this weekend. Do not should yourself to death. No good comes from should. And I will see you Monday, most likely, at 4:30 for another episode of Cooped Up Live, should I say. Talk to you later. Bye.